Dr. Michael B Dibley with the 360 Group, coming at you live from Norway, 59th parallel. The reason chiropractic is so vital to our existence as humans is very simple. We live our lives through our nervous system. So every single function, every thought, every action is coordinated through and conducted through the nervous system. It truly is the master symphony. And if that system, if that nervous system has any interference, what chiropractors call a vertebral subluxation, a misalignment in the vertebral column, putting pressure on the nervous system between the brain and the body, and the body and the brain, also known, I use an example very often, the boss and the factory. So the boss being the brain, the factory being the body. If there's communication between those two systems, we have health. If there's a miscommunication, we have dis-ease or no production. So it's actually quite simple to understand why so many people today have so many different health challenges, because most people walking around on the planet today, we have recent estimates of 7.2, 7.3 billion people on our planet. At any given time, a good 90% of them are probably walking around with a vertebral subluxation. How do we know that? Because we know that there's not enough chiropractors right now in the world to check every single person for vertebral subluxation. So again, the reason chiropractic is so vital, so essential to the advancement of humanity is because of the nervous system and its mitigation over every single function in our life. And if there's any interference to that system, we can no longer perceive our environment fully, 360 if you will. We can no longer, and when we can no longer perceive our environment, how do you think we're going to react to it? So again, it goes back to the simple fact of the anatomical fact, physiological fact of the nervous system really being the master control system, really being the boss. Let me show you what that looks like very practically for those out there that have yet to go to a chiropractor or yet be checked by a chiropractor. What you see here is a vertebral segment. We have the discs right here. These are both very degenerated discs. Also the vertebral nerves, the spinal nerves. And this is representing a subluxation or a degeneration of the spine, therefore putting a lot of pressure, as you can see here, on the actual nerve. Well, what if that nerve, that particular nerve, what if that nerve went over to the stomach? Or what if that nerve went over to the lung? Or what if that nerve went to the heart and it was being pressed upon? What do you think is going to happen to that organ, to that function, to that human? It's going to be decreased. In other words, we simply cannot, as a human species, reach our full God-given human potential without having our nervous system and our spinal column checked on a regular basis. If we're not being checked on a regular basis, then what happens is these subluxations build up, the stress builds up in the system, and what happens is we start to devibrate. We like to call this the disconnected life. So what we encourage everybody, no matter who's watching this, wherever you're at on the planet, please find a great chiropractor for them to check your spine so you can start living the clear and connected life. The clear and connected life is a life free of vertebral subluxation. You're eating as much organic foods as possible. You're thinking the most organic, beautiful, positive thoughts as possible. You're surrounded by people that support you and your mission, right? This is what we start to have as the essential components to a 360 life. Most of birth has a massive amount of trauma. So we usually get our first vertebral subluxation at birth when we're being pulled out of the birth canal. This is an enlarged version of the occiput right back here and also the atlas C2 and C3. So these segments here are very oftentimes misaligned during the birthing process. So most people have had or do have a vertebral subluxation from day one. How do we fix it? How do we get it checked? How do we make sure that it stays in alignment, stays in place, so the boss can talk to the factory and the factory can talk to the boss? What do? We go to a qualified, quality chiropractor that will be checking you for vertebral subluxation, giving you a proper care plan to make sure that that vertebral subluxation stays to a minimum and allows you to what? Express the most potential. It allows you to express 100% of who you are instead of 30%, 50%, 70%. The foundational problem to most people's problems today is due to vertebral subluxation. Everything starts in the center and then goes out. In other words, everything is a reflection of itself. So what does that mean? Let me qualify that. We don't come from cars, cars come from us. We don't come from buildings, buildings come from us. So if we want to build a better world, we need to have and build a better human. How do we do that? The human's already perfect. The issue is when we come to the planet, it's quite a bit of stress on our system, especially our nerve system. When there's too much stress that the body cannot adapt to, cannot integrate, our body is genius. It subluxates. It shuts us down in certain areas of our spine in order to protect us, in order to help us avoid further degeneration. What we do as chiropractors is we go and we find those vertebral subluxations, those misalignments, those responses to stress. Then what we do is we adjust them as gentle, as specific as possible. Why? For one reason only. So you can start living the clear and connected life, and you can start living up to your human potential. Again, this is Dr. Michael B. Dibley blasting off live from the top of the world at the 360 group and the 360 world-class chiropractic clinics. We need to have your spine start looking like this. I'll get a little closer for you. Instead of this. Again, this is a chiropractic spine. This is a spine without chiropractic. Chiropractic, without. We oftentimes say cruise ship, nursing home. It's your choice which one you will choose today. Again, Michael B. Dibley coming at you live from the top of the world here in Norway from the 360 group. Thank you very much for tuning in today. If you have any questions, you can find me on Facebook at Dr. Michael B. Dibley. If you have any specific other questions, if you're not on Facebook, you can always use an email at 360klinikk@gmail.com. If you've yet to see the film, Clear and Connected, this film is a documentary film with the top chiropractors around the planet talking about why chiropractic is essential to human potential and living the clear and connected life. You can find that film at www.clearandconnectedmovie.com. Thank you very much. And I wish you a fantastic day, and I wish you a clear and connected life.